Raider Nation? We are back. My name is Mitchell Renz. You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's live show is presented by our good friends over at Prize Picks. Use code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Speaking of Prize Picks, we'll talk about the World Cup here in a little bit. Obviously, this is the Raiders Report. I will go through all the news, all the rumors. If you did not see the video that I literally just dropped on the channel about 30 minutes ago, that's where a lot of the news and rumors that I'm kind of referring to are. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to get them up here on the screen. But the reason why I'm saying I'm back is I was not here last week. I was at a friend's wedding. Obviously, it's always nice being able to get to go home, getting able to see all the friends, all the family. Shout out to everybody that reached out to me while I was gone this weekend. I always think it's really cool and humbling when you guys are, just hoping that I'm having a good time, hoping that I'm safe. It means really, really a lot to me. I think it just shows how much we've grown as a community here. But the two shows that I got on tap for you guys today, we're going to talk about some Raiders extension candidates because, you got the time from now until training camp. Training camp, let's call it, is going to be about 35, 40 days away from right around right now. Kubiak kind of made a statement which made me wonder, are the Raiders going to start right around July 20th, which is a Monday? When Kubiak spoke last week at his presser, he kind of was like, hey, we're about like 40 days away. And I go, wow, I wonder if that's kind of like a little bit of a tip of when training camp is going to be. So in the moments from now until training camp starts, I'm just going to talk about some potential players that, hey, if I was with SpyTech and if I'm with Clint Kubiak and they go, who would you want to give in a contract extension to, Mitch? I'm going to outline some players that I would look at. And then I'm going to talk about some Nakobe Dean replacements. But I'm going to talk about it as like worst case scenario, which worst case scenario is we don't have Nakobe Dean and we're looking to actually go out and find a replacement for him. And I'll just kind of break down that show, and we got a lot of interesting topics to be able to get to today. You guys don't even know what the deals are, which is absolutely unbelievable on this program, and you guys make me laugh. But Isaac Hernandez! What's going on, man? I got to do this. LMAO. Let's freaking go. It's party time. Well, I don't know if y'all noticed the thumbnail of the show, the title of the show, and I'm a sports guy through and through. Don't get me wrong. The college baseball right now is going on in Omaha, and I was thinking about doing something fun with Omaha, but then also you got the World Cup going on right now, France, Senegal. So we're actually in a battle. I don't even know if you guys know this or not. I'm trying to outscore France and Senegal, which right now, it's not very difficult. So instead of alley-oops today, y'all, we're doing goals. We're doing shots on goal. So Isaac Hernandez just sent a pass. Who's going to put it in the net, y'all? Who's going to put it in the net? And it looks like it might be a header from Sherlock Raider. From Isaac Hernandez. A goal. We're up 1-0 over France and Senegal. I got a deal for all y'all. One of my goals that I wanted to be able to do on today's show is I want to outscore France and Senegal. You know how I always look at each and every one of y'all when Sam pops up on this show and we always say, F Sam. For those of you that don't know, Sam, diehard Broncos fan. Really one of the very first producers I ever had on the Raiders Report. Also, big-time France fan. He's from France. His family is French is actually his first language, which funny enough. So I see some F-Sams down below, so I want to outscore France and Senegal. And right now, the Raiders Report is up 1-0 because of Isaac Hernandez and Sherlock. But then guess what? Hernandez puts another shot on. We'll see if Sherlock ends up cleaning this one up. Thank you for my Doza jersey. Let's freaking go. Throwing it up. Shout out to you, dude. I did a deal a few weeks ago, and my deal was simple. My deal was, hey, if you guys did XYZ, I'm going to send you a Fernando Mendoza jersey. I'm going to send you a signed Fernando Mendoza jersey by me. So you guys do a lot for me. I try to do a lot for you. And if you guys want to get some questions and comments in on these alley-oop and some goals, let's get this thing rocking and rolling. John Rodriguez, Mitch, What happened to NK? Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. When I thought NK, my first thing is, did you spell New York Knicks wrong? But they obviously won the title. Who? Maybe Nakobe Dean. Honestly, the other thing I thought was Nick Kwiatkowski, an old linebacker for the Raiders. In terms of what happened to Nakobe Dean, I actually don't know if it's anything all that severe. I really, truly think he's battling some sort of minor injury, and because this is the middle of June, they want him to be ready to go for July. So if you're asking about Nakobe, I think it's a minor injury. I do. I think that he's battling something minor, and Kubiak kind of said, and I'll show you guys on today's show one of the quotes that Kubiak said, which kind of made me think for a second or two. But I think Nakobe, if he's dealing with anything, it's probably just a little bit minor. I do see Isaac Hernandez. He's got a pass in there. We'll see if anybody ends up getting a goal. I don't know who that is. Oh, my goodness. Brian Kulig. I got an unbelievable Brian Kulig story. Shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Use code HMA to get $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup over at Prize Picks. We got the World Cup. We got college baseball action. I know that basketball and hockey, it is wrapped up, and we were doing a lot of conversations around the Knicks and Spurs, a lot of conversations around the Vegas Golden Knights and the Hurricanes. But you know what? I'm a sports fan, and if you're a sports fan, tonight is an electric night of sports. Why? You get to see some of the best to do it of all time. You got Mbappe, who's actually playing right now at the moment that I'm live, though. France and Senegal is at 0-0. And then Messi's going to be playing tonight. I'll tell you this right now, man. I don't care what you're doing. When you have an opportunity to watch the greatest, you find an opportunity to do that. So I hope that you guys get a lineup in. Heck, if you want to roll with my guy Sam Brown, this is Sam's lineup. He's our soccer expert here at Chat Sports. And if anybody wants to give me a follow on Prize Picks, I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. For those of you that do not know, you can pick more, you can pick less. It's really, truly that simple, and I will put that link for you guys down in the comments, down in the description of today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. So Isaac Hernandez with the pass. Sherlock Rayner, a goal. 2-0. Raider Nation is up over France and Senegal 2-0, but then I don't even know what this is. I don't even know how I can possibly describe what this is. But man, oh man, oh man. Brian Kulig, a goal! Oh my goodness, Brian! Oh my goodness, Brian. So Brian, first off, two things. One, get a picture. For those of you that don't know, and I always say this because when you guys do wild and crazy shit, it deserves more wild and crazy shit. It's unbelievable, Brian. So, Brian, first off, he says, "Hi, brother. Can I get a Max Crosby jersey signed?" I'll try to look to see what I can do on a signed Max Crosby jersey. I'll tell you this, though. If you're okay, I can actually send you a Fernando Mendoza jersey. I would be the one that signs it. If you're like, no, I don't want you to sign it, I'll just send you the Mendoza jersey. I do have a few here actually at the studio. That's the jersey that Isaac Hernandez was talking about earlier. But if you want a Fernando Mendoza jersey signed by me, I can get you one of those probably by the end of the week. if you're trying to wait a little bit longer on a signed Crosby jersey, I can at least look into it. But I will do my best to get you something. But if you're down to get a Mendoza, I got you. But my really cool Brian Kulick story, and Brian, I hope that you remember this. Brian is actually the very first person in Raiders Report history. You go all the way back if you don't believe me, because I write shit down because I see what you guys do all the time. Brian is the very first person, not Raider Ron, not David Zahn, in Raiders Report history to ever send in a super chat over $200. Brian sent in a $300 super chat probably like 8 years ago on this show. And again, Brian, I don't even know if you remember this, but I remember I talked to my dad about that for, holy shit, man, probably a good, I bet my dad and I talked about that for so long because it was one of the very first conversations I ever had where, you know, everybody has a tough day at work. Everybody's kind of wondering what exactly is going on. But when you get stuff like this, I think it just, you know, it's an indication that you're doing the right things with your life. And Brian, I don't know if you know a lot of the things that we're doing on today's show, but you've just put us up, my guy, 7-0. And if you guys could spam some BKs down below, I think it's pretty damn obvious that he's going to be the MVP on today's show. And let's talk about some of the deals that are going down. So, Brian, just so you know, dog, I am giving you a golden ticket. And for those of you that don't know what our golden ticket is, it's to get in my fantasy football league. I'm going to be doing a league. It's going to be a 16-team league. I will end up doing the draft in September, but there's going to be ways that you can get in my fantasy football league June, July, and August. So for today, for example, if you send in a $5 super chat, I'm going to give you one fantasy raffle ticket. If you send in a $10 super chat, I'm going to give you 3 fantasy raffle tickets. If you want a shot to win a little bit of money, $20 Venmo at Mitchell Renz 365 to get in the duck race. Every hundo or 50 for the alley-oop. We're going to goal it up, and I was going to do this. My goal today was to outscore France and Senegal. I'll tell you this right now. The last time that I can remember seeing a 7 up on the board when it comes to goals, I used to live in Germany. And I went to this watch party one year, and Germany beat Brazil in the World Cup. They ended up winning. It was like 7-1, I think is what it was. And I remember it was a really, really big deal. I'm going to tell you all this right now. If we get one more bang today, I planned on going live on Thursday, and I planned on going live on Friday. I did not plan on going live tomorrow. If we get one more bang today, I'll go live tomorrow for Raiders-Jets Madden live simulation tomorrow. Then Thursday, Raiders-49ers live Madden simulation. And you know what? Then on Friday, what I will do is we will do I kind of want to do a World Cup USA. What if we did like a USA World Cup happy hour with Mount Raidermore? Would you guys be down for something like that? I'm kind of down for something like that. Again, like to me, I know this is the Raiders Report, and if you want, I could probably, what if I promised all y'all if we went live for the World Cup, which starts at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yep, 2 Central, 3 Eastern.
What if we went live for USA up against Australia, and we were live, you know, even after the game doing a happy hour? Would you guys want to do that? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. And I mean, the amount of BKs that are just down below right now for my guy Brian. I see Sherlock. I see Isaac Hernandez. Robert Jansen here in the building. Wolverine, did Brian also indicate that he wants a... I mean, I can't even believe you just did that, Brian. I'm not going to lie. I'm not often speechless on this show, but I'm pretty fucking speechless right now. Brian, do you want a Mendoza, or do you want me to try to get you that Crosby? I know you said the Crosby. I can't guarantee the signed Crosby. I can guarantee you a Fernando Mendoza jersey signed by me, but again, it's signed by me. I'm seeing a lot of yeses down below. So I'll tell you all like this. If we get one more bang, I will go live tomorrow and Thursday for Madden games. And then on Friday, I'll go live for Raiders Friday Happy Hour, and we'll go live for the World Cup game. which technically means for me, I'll be live longer on Friday.
It's Friday that?
USA game.
No, I know that. What week is Sherlock coming?
Next week.
Oh, I thought it was this week.
Sherlock comes the 26th.
I thought that was this week. Oops.
Right? Because what? If the 19th, I believe the 19th is this Friday.
Yeah.
And then the
26th
26th, Sherlock comes. Yeah, Sherlock and one of his buddies, they'll be here in studio, not this Friday, but the Friday after that. Brian, you want a Mendoza? All right, I got you. Brian, can you just tell me what size you are, if possible? If you could tell me what size you are, Brian, that would be much, much appreciated. Mendoza jersey. And then, Brian, I don't know if you have Venmo. If you could send me a $1 Venmo, Brian, first name, last name, shipping address, and then I'll send you that $1 Venmo back. That way I can just, obviously send you the Mendoza jersey quicker, sooner rather than later. So we're kind of talking a lot about the World Cup today. I'll just say this. I'm pretty damn confident we're going to outscore France and Senegal. Pretty confident in that. And I know this is the Raiders Report, but here's the thing, man. I don't see many Raiders questions down below. I want to get some hashtag Raiders. I want some questions flowing in around the silver and black. And if, we don't get any, again, I'm just going to interact with all of y'all. I got some questions for you. I got 2 shows on tap, which I'm really excited to be able to get into today. I think the extension candidates will be fun. And then also I'll call them the Nakobe Dean replacements. And again, I'm thinking about this a little bit more of worst case scenario type of shit. Richard Engel, you, sir, are the first one in our Raiders Report duck race going on right now. If you guys see any hashtag Raiders questions, if you see any hashtag Raiders, don't be afraid to put them up in there. But let me know down below, who do you guys think is going to end up winning the World Cup? If you don't really know, if you don't care, I'll just say it like this. I'm rooting for Mexico. My wife's Mexican. And then I'm also rooting for the United States. Those are going to be the top 2 teams that I root for. If they get into a game, USA against Mexico, I'm going to be, I don't know who I'm going to root for. Because I have more benefits if Mexico wins. If Mexico wins, I'll have more benefits. Though it's going to be hard to root against the Stars and Stripes. It's going to be a little bit difficult. I do see a few questions coming in and some super chats. Let's go to Rebel. Did we score today? Everyone, yes. Mets, no. You really had to rub that in, didn't you, Rebel?
Shut out by the Reds last night.
I know, dude. I was talking to my dad this morning about the Mets, and when he said that we got shut out by the Reds, I literally thought to myself, I go, I'm probably going to be with Lopez today. I'm sure that I'll end up hearing about it. Rebel, I tagged you in a tweet, Reb. I don't know if you saw that. Angela Sherlock, yes, is in the duck race. I just saw that one, Sherlock. I got you. But my guy Marshall Green, he's going to be in New York. If there's anybody that's going to be in New York for the Knicks parade that wants to go hang out with him, hey, he just posted on social media where he's going to be. Go hang out with my guy Marsh. Luda, if we trade Jackson Powers Johnson, what would that look like in your opinion? This is a good question, and I'll say this. I do believe that, and I made this statement on the show that I literally just put out, I think the most likely player right now that could be traded by the Las Vegas Raiders is Jackson Powers Johnson. And I kind of say that, and I have like a little bit of a pit in my stomach because I do think JPJ's upside is a player that I would want. Like, here's the problem. I think if you were to tell fans, hey, we're not going to get anything higher than a 5th-round pick, what would you say to that? Like, if you told me we get a 5th-round pick for JPJ, I don't feel good about that. Like, I would want a higher draft pick because of what I think that he could be. But then also in the exact same breath, he just hasn't been healthy. He has struggled he struggled last season, which again, is that JPJ's fault? Is that the coaching staff's problem? I think there's no doubt some coaching staff issues there. But now you're kind of dealing with another offseason, and JPJ's having some issues with, again, I don't know if he's having issues, right? But it is being reported as if he's having some more issues this offseason, and like the Raiders don't know if they can depend on him. But I would say 5th, 6th round pick for Jackson Powers Johnson. And a lot of fans are not going to like it. Like, if you get the notification that the Raiders have traded JPJ for a 5th or 6th round pick, there's going to be a lot of angry Raiders fans out there. And, I don't blame you. I wouldn't love that idea either. But I also think if the Raiders, Clint Kubiak, John Spytek, make that move and they move on from JPJ, I think that tells me a lot. Because I do believe in this coaching staff. I do believe in what they're doing. And considering the fact that the Raiders have made all the moves that they have at the guard position over the past 2 seasons, I think the writing, I'll tell you this, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. You guys always laugh at me when I say that. You got to admit, there's a lot of interesting smoke right now around 58. Let's go to John Rodriguez. Mitch, how do you see our offensive line? Again, if the season started today, I would imagine it's Colt Miller at left tackle, Spencer Burford at left guard, center's going to be Tyler Linderbaum, JPJ's right guard, and right tackle I'll go DJ Glaze. But there is absolutely a chance that JPJ, maybe it's Caleb Rogers at right guard, maybe it's Trey Zune somewhere on the offensive line, right tackle or right guard. I will say right now, Linderbaum and Miller are the only 2 positions that I am very confident are going to be those positions. Left guards, like Spencer Burford starting at left guard is a bigger probability and a bigger chance than JPJ starting at right guard. But there's still going to be some mixing and matching, but I do really like our Raiders offensive line. I like the starting unit. I think we got solid depth overall from top to bottom. Again, I think this is a much better offensive line unit than what it gets credit for because of how bad they were last season. But a lot of that I do think was coaching. Preston, what up, Preston? Do you think also, Preston, I saw your message that you sent me on social media, and I should be getting that package sooner rather than later. Once I do get the package, I'll let you know. For those of you that do not know, Preston donated a Brock Bowers. It was what? Brock Bowers Salute to Service jersey, and we're going to raise some money, and we're going to donate that money to SaveAWarrior.org. Shout out to Preston. Do you think Nakobe is going to start or play this year? I think if it wasn't that much of an issue, it would be publicized with his injury. I think Nakobe Dean's going to be okay. I really, really do, man. Like, I understand fans being a little bit concerned because he wasn't out there on the field, but again, like, this coaching staff has been transparent. You can't say that it hasn't been. They've been transparent with fans. They've been transparent with players. I think they've been transparent with themselves this offseason, and they really don't seem to be all that worried about Nakobe. Now, are there concerns about his health? Yeah, of course there are. I mean, you look at, he's missed 21 games in his career. That's 31% of games that he could have played in. He's missed 31% of those games. So, like, injuries have been a factor for Dean. He played in only 10 games last season. But I also think it's one of those situations, Preston, where if you don't need to talk about it, why bring it up? And again, when you're as bad as what the Raiders have been, and I am team full, it's kind of funny how I think about this question, because type me down below if you are team no drama during the offseason. That's how I am. I don't want no bullshit. I don't want drama. And if your team no drama around the Raiders, then you don't talk about the injuries. Like, you don't talk about injuries until you absolutely have to, until it's mandatory that you start reporting on what those injuries are. Because I think if you do, yeah, you're going to start causing some other issues outside of the room. But I also think the Raiders like Cody Lindenberg. I think they're very confident in what he did. It's one of the reasons why he was one of my biggest winners on the defensive side of the football from minicamp. Let's go to Sports Dude. What up, Sports Dude? Who do you think will be the Raiders team captains this season? What's interesting about this question is I thought about this myself, so I went back and I looked at Gary Kubiak and what he used to do with a lot of his teams, Clint Kubiak's dad. And in a lot of Gary's teams, and again, every year is a little bit different, but a lot of Gary Kubiak's old teams, they had a captain on offense, a captain on defense, and a captain on special teams. If you go that route, it's A.J. Cole on special teams, Max Crosby on defense, and then I think it's Kirk Cousins at the quarterback position. But there's Tyler Linderbaum deserves to be in that realm. I think Bowers, Ashton Genty deserve to be in that conversation. Watch out for Quay Walker to be in that convo. Watch out for another interesting name would be Eric Stokes, I think, bottom of the roster, or not bottom of the roster, but like he would probably be like bottom of the captain list type of guy. There's if you guys want, I could probably do a show on potential captain candidates, which I probably will this offseason. Let's go to my guy, Nab, man. What's up, brother? Hey, guys, Moore has been busy, but just caught up on all my socials. Oh, the move has been busy. Please tell me that what I want to hear is not true. Robert Pena passed away in a car accident. Yeah, RIP. I saw a lot of Raiders fans talking about Robert Pena, and so great Raider, bro, and I'm beside myself. I've seen a lot of people talk about Robert, and again, like to me, it's very interesting, Raider Nation, and the friendships that are created, even with people, and again, Nab, I don't know if you ever met Robert, but this was somebody, and again, if anybody ever met Robert, just I'm always interested to hear more and more stories, and then, right, Ulysses just said RIP to Alden Smith down below. I think at the end of the day, anything can happen. You should always live life to the fullest. You should always love, keep your loved ones in mind. But now, man, I give you a lot of credit for bringing up Robert's name. Like I said, I know that was somebody that I watched this show, but I also, based on what I'm guessing, is Robert watched like a bunch of different programs out there for a bunch of Raiders different content creators. Again, to me, I don't know if I knew him personally. I meet a lot of Raiders fans out there. And if I don't ever remember the exact moment, I hope that you guys don't get upset or mad at me. But I think what you're doing here, Nav, is really cool stuff, man. And like I said, I saw this weekend a few people post about it. I was away at a weekend. This wedding. I was at a wedding this weekend, so I was really off my phone. But I did see a few people post about it. I saw a few Instagram posts and a few Instagram stories. So. Yeah, man, life's crazy, man. Life's short. I think at the end of the day, you gotta enjoy life to the fullest. Got to figure out a way to do that. So, we started a challenge today. It looks like we're pretty comfortably gonna get a dub. So, why don't we make this a little bit more interesting, Lopez? You ready for my new idea?
Oh, I was just updating the L3. Is there something else you wanted to add?
Well, again, I was going to do Raiders Report versus France and Senegal. I'm pretty damn confident that they're not going to catch us.
Yeah, I don't think they have 7 goals between the two teams.
I don't think that's going to happen. So I'll be real with you. I don't really know if we need to keep showing it over and over and over again. I'll tell you this. I love that you guys showed up and showed out today. Huge shout out to Brian Kulik for giving us 5 goals in a single super chat. Obviously, Isaac Hernandez. Obviously, Sherlock Raider. You guys are super unbelievable. Yeah, Jack just said, I heard. Yeah, I know, Jack. It was pretty wild. I was going to say we could add the College World Series game, but I almost feel like that's too much.
It's 6-0 there.
I'll say it's 6-0. That's why I'm like, it's 6-0.
It's really close there.
Well, it's 6 in the baseball. If we combine World Cup, it's 6-7. But I think if we get the dub today, we get the dub today. So here's what we're going to do, y'all. We are one bang away, and I'll go live tomorrow. And if I go live tomorrow, that means I'm live tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday this upcoming week on the Raiders Report. Bayou showing up and showing out.
Yeah, bad news. You're probably going live tomorrow.
For Brian Kulik. It's not bad. I mean, it's just like anything, and I hope when I give you guys deals, I hope that you guys don't get mad. I hope you don't get upset. Wow, France just scored!
Let me update the scoreboard, guys.
Was it Mbappe?
Maybe?
I see Mbappe right now celebrating a little bit, but he kind of looks like he's been there, done that.
Big goal. Cut the lead down to 6.
They needed it. I'll tell you this. Sam was sweating bullets. So it looks like I'm trying to see who scored the goal here for France. It was a really, really nice pass.
I don't think that was Mbappe.
I don't think it was Mbappe.
Oh, no, that was.
No, definitely Mbappe.
Oops.
I mean, what an unbelievable pass to Mbappe. And he just scored. Goal. 1-0 France over Senegal. So today's deals, y'all, that we're doing, and when I give you guys deals again, I want you all to think of the Raiders Report as a restaurant. If you want to participate in the show, you absolutely can. If you don't, you can also just sit in here and have a good time. But when I go live, it just adds, it adds extra time on my day. It adds extra things that I do. Do I love doing this show? Do I love hanging out with Raider Nation? Of course I do. But Wednesday is a day where I get a lot of my, I get caught up on a lot of other things around the Chat Sports Studios. But I'm willing to give it up. You guys have obviously showed up and showed out today. It's been just unbelievable what you guys always do on this program. So we will see. We will see. Ray Flores, I don't know what that means, bro. I don't know what that means, dude.
Dude, I think they're really behind in the bullpen, unless something big just happened.
Unless something else just happened, yeah, I'm not really sure.
They just started freaking out. Oh, he had a shot.
Oh, yeah, this was a close one by Senegal.
Oh, did they call him offsides? Because that definitely went in. That definitely went in.
Did they call it offsides?
That's what it has to be. Yeah, it had to be offsides.
I'm guessing they're calling it offsides. Senegal just put one in the back of the net, and they're calling them. I mean, they had to have called them offsides. They are not happy about it. Not happy about it. All right, y'all. Laundry day, fess up from Robert. It's not laundry day, Robert. It kind of is. Like, laundry day here around Chat Sports is, I know you guys know me as Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report. But here at Chat Sports, I'm also Senior VP of Live, so I help a lot of the guys come up with some ideas. And, Wednesday's a big day where I just, like I said, I got to get caught up. I don't work on the weekends, but I still make sure that you guys get videos during the weekend time. Ray, get out of here, bro. Get out of here, man. What country are you in right now? We're doing a lot of conversations around the World Cup, and it looks like we have just extended our lead a little bit longer, and it's coming in from Bayou. A goal! Bayou putting the Raiders Report up 8-1 over the World Cup today. This is getting out of hand. This reminds me of when Germany beat Brazil 7-1. We need an LSU channel. We're working on it. I'm telling you, Bayou. You keep also special shout out to Bayou. Special shout out to David Zahn. I got a text message or a DM the other day from Rebel Montana, and Rebel was like, major shout out to Raider Nation. Major shout out to Bayou and David Zahn for showing up during our Knicks watch parties and celebrating the Knicks championships with them. Lopez, go get it, brother. What's up, Mitch? And yes, I know it takes time to get a new channel. Just showing Lopez some love. Nation, what's up? Love y'all. The Saints actually had a big signing today in Cam Jordan, kind of down there in the Bayou. What do you think about that move for New Orleans? And Bayou, I'll tell you this right now. We're keeping track of all the LSU super chats, and we're sending them to my bosses. I promise you that, man.
I thought the Cam Jordan signing, it was bound to happen for the Saints, it seemed like. I think the more that it was getting stretched out, the more likely it was becoming that he was going to land back with the Saints. So it was just nice that, finally over. We move on to the season now. The press conference was really fun, though. His, introduction press conference, I don't know. That was a fun one. He had his kids there. He said it was his last season. Said he wants to go out in the black and gold, so it was fun to see.
I respect that. I mean, that would be if Max Crosby's 36 years old.
Yeah.
Like Trace today, the first thing when I first saw Trace today, he's like, yo, I think Cam Jordan's come back today. And he looked like a little kid on Christmas Eve, like, I think Santa's coming tomorrow. Yeah. Santa! Shout out to Bayou Raider, Mount Raidermores. Mount Raidermore. Oh, man. Yeah, Lucy, to be honest with you, it's a lot of the times why we tell people to go to Venmo, but, truthfully, I'm not going to complain if people want to show up and show out. I think at the end of the day, I want people to spend their money how people want to be able to spend their money. And I also, what Brian did, again, for those of you that don't know, Brian is the very first, big super chat this channel has ever had. Again, I remember when he sent in a $300 super chat probably 8 years ago. I'm serious. When it happened, I remember it changed. It blew my mind, man. It blew my mind. So, Brian, it's good to have you here, man. It's good to have you, brother. All right, y'all. Are you guys ready to get into the very first segment on today's show? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. And a friendly reminder, we will do a duck race at the end of the program today. We only have 2 people in. The more people that get in, the more money we can give away. Aristocrat Raider says, when's the next Raiders Madden Sim? I planned on doing it on Thursday, but since today has been such a wild day already to get this thing started from Brian Kulik, Bayou Raider, Sherlock Raider, Isaac Hernandez, I'm going to go live tomorrow. So my plan tomorrow would be, I'll probably be live somewhere around, let's call it like 3 p.m. Eastern time. It's Raiders up against the New York Jets. It's going to be somewhere around there, like 3, 4 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know. I don't typically go live on Wednesday. So shout out to Mount Raidermore. Shout out to Brian for getting all this shit started today, man. But I will be doing a Raiders Madden Sim tomorrow against the Jets. And then I will do a Raiders Madden Sim against the 49ers on Thursday. And then on Friday, just because Friday looks like it's going to be a party day, we will be live for USA against Australia. And then essentially what I'm going to do, oh, wow, they got some Knicks guys that are there. Looks like Mikael Bridges at France and Senegal game.
Is that the one in New York?
I mean, I guess.
It has to be.
I guess it doesn't have to be, but I think if you're a New York Knicks player and you're leaving New York right now, you're kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's a freaking party. But I will be live for this game. I'm pretty sure it's going to be happening on Friday. And we'll probably watch this game. We'll do a happy hour, and then after the game, we'll just keep the happy hour going. But had a few people tell me they wanted me to go live for the game. Let's do it. But obviously, like while we do these, if you guys want to talk Raiders, we will always talk Raiders here on the show. Young JMC, what's up, Mitch? Can I get a Raiders? Young JMC, I think you got a new picture. Am I right in saying that? Did you get a new picture? I think you did. I think you did. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But the other reason why I always tell you I'll get a pic, like that's just how I remember people. Photos, pictures. I remember faces way better than I remember names in real life and on YouTube. But I'm pretty sure, young JMC, you got yourself a new photo or newish photo. But for those of you that don't know, we got 2 shows on tap today. The 2 shows that I'm going to be doing are, we're going to be breaking down some Raiders extension candidates, and these are players that I would say have the best shot to get an extension before training camp starts. Do I think really any of these players are big time, like going to get extension candidates? No, I really don't. Like I would say even the guys that I have ranked at number 1 are probably still like a one just win baby chance of getting a contract extension this offseason. Then also, I'm going to talk about some Nakobe Dean replacements. But again, when you think about the names that I'm about to bring up, I'm bringing these up as almost like worst case scenario. If we find out the Nakobe Dean injury is a lot worse than what it actually is, and the Raiders actually need a starting weak side linebacker. But that we'll kind of, I'll try to explain to you a little bit more in depth once that video gets going. But let's first get in here to some extension candidates that I want to be able to talk about, and I'm looking right now down in the numbers. I don't know if I've ever done a Raiders Report show where we haven't gotten 100 likes out there. So if you could, hit that like button. It does help us out a lot, and believe me, I know we ask a lot of y'all around here, but I also think you guys ask a lot of me, and it's not necessarily an ask, it's an expectation. I expect you guys to show up and show out every single day here on the Raiders Report because that's what friends and family do. Just like I think you guys expect me to show up every single day and talk Raiders because that's what friends and family do. This is the middle of June. I know that there's not a lot of stuff going on for the Raiders, but this is my job to have a good time with Raider Nation. I love being able to do it, and I don't care if there's nothing going on around this team. I'm still going to be here. We're still going to talk. We're going to come up with content, and you will become a smarter Raiders fan. You'll become a better Raider fan, I think, from watching the show, from the community that we have, and all the programs that we launch. So, LA Crash Dog, what's going on, man? Gunny, I'll get to that super chat after this segment coming up here because we're going to let it load in a little bit, though. I think we are letting a few other things load in here. Lopez is getting our first show set up right now. Shout out to LA Crash Dog. One of the greatest of all time, man. One of the greatest of all time. You ready? So Prize Picks is the one. You can just use the World Cup. We can do the World Cup lineup. That's probably fine. Probably good. Probably good. Bayou Raider, I got you, bro. You're in. I got you, Bayou. Bayou Raider in the duck race. How about this? I'm going to ask you all a question. If you could give any player a contract extension right now, who would it be and why? Who would it be and why? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. One contract extension, any player. You let me know. Might get some Max Crosby's down below. Though I don't think it would be Max because I kind of had to I kind of forgot that once the new league year started, his 2027 contract became fully guaranteed. So technically Max has almost $60 million fully guaranteed to him. Next offseason, different story. Next offseason, maybe a little bit of a different story. You ready to rock? All right, Lopez is ready to rock and roll, which means I am ready to rock and roll. We're going to get into this show here. It's going to be talking about some Raiders extension candidates that we could do before training camp gets started. While I'm talking about this program, I'm probably going to ask you some questions. If I'm not asking you questions, I would like to have more questions to be able to answer once I get done with this segment. So please use hashtag Raiders and then ask your question, or you can super chat to skip the line and get to the front. You ready? All right, y'all, let's ready to rock and roll right now here on the Raiders Report. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, presented by Prize Picks, I got some Raiders extension candidates that John Spytek, Clint Kubiak could think about potentially extending before training camp. Now, here's the thing. I don't know exactly when training camp is going to be going down. If I had to guess, it will begin around July 20th based on Clint Kubiak's comments and then also based on vets reported last year, July 22nd. Rookies reported last year, July 17th. But what you're going to see from me is I'm going to rank the top 3 players on offense and on defense that I would entertain the idea of giving a contract extension to before training camp gets underway. But if you don't know how the Raiders Report operates, we're literally chat sports. I'm going to talk to all of y'all. So if you could give one player on this team an extension, who would it be and why? Let me know down below. And the way that this show is going to go is I'm going to work my way from 3 all the way down to 1. And we're going to kick it off first with the offensive side of the football. Let's go to number 3 here on the offensive potential extension candidates. And at wide receiver, I'm going to talk about Trey Tucker. It should be noted that out of all 6 of the players that I'm discussing, I really don't think it's very likely that any of these 6 players actually gets an extension. But I do think it's at least notable of who could be one of those options. For Trey Tucker, he's going to be a free agent in 2027. And a lot of these extension candidates, you're looking at players are who will be free agents, who will be on the open market next season that you potentially think this organization would want to bring back. Like, do I think the Raiders would give Trey Tucker an extension this offseason? No, I really don't. I think the only way that Trey Tucker gets an extension this offseason is if, like, something bad happens to Jack Besh. Truthfully, like, that's what I would think. But Trey, he has gotten better every single season despite 6 different offensive coordinators. You got 4 different head coaches that he's had to deal with. And again, this was a Josh McDaniels player that was drafted. He had phenomenal ties with not only Dave Ziegler but McDaniels from their times back in Ohio. But Tucker is a fast player. He's quick. He's tough. I think he's great for pre-snap motion. He's also a solid run blocker, and that comes from his wrestling background. He is a really, really good fit in Clint Kubiak's offense, and he's the wide receiver 1 to this football team right now. He is a little bit undersized, and I know that there's major question marks around what he could potentially do this upcoming season. But because he's in the final year of his contract, because Clint Kubiak is a fan, and because he's somebody that's in there working his tail off every single day, pound for pound, one of the strongest players, if not the strongest player on this Raiders team, and because when you look at the production I actually don't think tells the full story. Because you're talking different OCs, different quarterbacks, bad offenses, and when you actually look at the next, when you look at the next gen stats, which is like kind of just looking at separation and how much, like, distance cornerbacks and safeties give Trey Tucker, he's one of the top receivers in the league in creating separation, meaning If you could just find somebody that can get him the football, good stuff could potentially happen. Let's go to extension candidate number 2 here on the Raiders Report presented by Prize Picks. I'm going to go with tight end Michael Mayer. And Mayer's kind of in the same boat that Tucker is in. He's been a part of really bad teams. He's been a part of really bad offenses, really bad quarterback play. However, I do think that Mayer should at least be in this conversation because, well, if you wait until next offseason, I actually don't know if you're going to be able to extend him. What do I mean? Next offseason, the Raiders will 100% make Brock Bowers the highest paid tight end in the National Football League. They're going to do it. The moment the offseason, like next offseason, I'm going to be making videos left and right. You got to extend Bowers, you got to extend Bowers, you got to extend Bowers. So if you're this organization, do you extend Bowers and Michael Mayer next offseason? I don't know if you do. Maybe if you're the Raiders, you give Mayer an extension this offseason, probably get him at a little bit of a cheaper discount. I'll admit, I don't think Mayer would want to do that. If I'm Michael Mayer, I probably want to test the open market because I know as long as I'm a Raider, I'm always going to play second fiddle to 89, and that's just the truth. But Kubiak's system does use multiple tight ends. And Mayer, I'll admit, I don't think he's really ever been used correctly. I don't think he's had the right people around him to use him correctly. But Mayer has dealt with tons of BS. Now, the number one thing that I think this Raiders organization worries about with Mayer for him is the upstairs. And I do have a really good source who's very tied to Notre Dame. And Mayer apparently also dealt with some issues at Notre Dame. We'll just say staying mentally locked in is definitely not the right way to put it, but Mayer has dealt with some off-the-field, we'll call it confidence. He's just dealt with some off-the-field issues, and, there was a few years ago where Mayer was away from the football team. You just want to make sure your guys are 100% right mentally every single day, and there might be some concerns around Mayer in that regard. I'm not saying that there's concerns from this current staff, but there were concerns with past coaching staffs with the Raiders and also with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish based on the sources that I talked to. But, I think we also got to remind ourselves that, to me, Mayer was a top tight end in the 2023 NFL Draft. I mean, this was a player that I didn't think was going to fall to the second round. This is somebody that I do think could be a number 1 tight end on a lot of football teams out there, despite the numbers not really indicating that. Do I think it'd cost a lot to give him an extension? No, but I personally would love the idea of being able to keep 87 and 89 with Fernando Mendoza, with Ashton Genty, a part of this young nucleus that we have. And if the Raiders feel the exact same way, you might have to give Mayer an extension this offseason because, again, how much money are you going to invest in the tight end position next offseason? Because you're going to spend a lot on Brock Bowers. That I guarantee you. And if you don't, shame on you, Raiders. Coming up next here, though, on the show, I got the number 1 player that I would extend on the offensive side of the football. Before we get into that, I got to tell all y'all about our sponsor, Prize Picks. And whether you're watching the World Cup, whether you're watching Omaha College baseball, I know basketball is over, I know hockey is over, but prove that you know ball and prove that you can also read down below, because if you use code HMA, I can get you $50 instantly in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup over at Prize Picks. It's available in all 50 states. It's simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players' stats. It's safe and secure. It was funny. This past weekend, I was back home in the 570, and I was trying to explain to my dad how Prize Picks work. So we're kind of going through it. I was showing him a lot of the culture picks because he's in Pennsylvania. And what's funny is he's like, so you're telling me I can pick more or less on the weather? Yes. You can pick more or less on the weather, Dad, and to anybody out there. Now, if you're like, well, I don't want to go more or less on rain and shine, what about on goals? Because that's what we're looking at right now. I am not the biggest soccer fan. I'm not going to lie to all y'all out there, but I've been to the Little League World Series a multitude of different times, and the culture that you see at the Little League World Series kind of reminds me a little bit right now of what's happening down here. I'm based in Dallas, and you're just seeing so many, fans of all these different teams, of all these different countries, and it's kind of it almost reminds me of Epcot, where, you got all these different countries, all these different cultures, and it's such an amazing thing to be able to witness, but then also the passion of this fan base. The fans, when you're watching a World Cup game, are absolutely insane, and my guy Sam, this is one of the lineups that he put in, and I know that right now at the time I'm recording this video, France is playing, and actually Mbappe did score a goal, so he's got to get 3.5 more goals for this lineup to end up happening. The bottom line is this. If you're a sports fan, I don't know how the heck you don't have the Prize Picks app on your phone. If I were to look at every single guy that I think that knows sports and I get their phone, I am going to guess that they got Prize Picks on their phone. So you can pick more, you can pick less. You can follow me on Prize Picks. Use code HMA, and on Prize Picks, it feels good to be right. Let's keep it moving here with my Raiders extension candidates on offense. Some of you might be shocked that Aiden O'Connell is the number one player on this Raiders offense that I would give a contract extension to. But you know what? I'm not afraid to say it with my chest because I've been saying this for months. People said I was crazy, even last year, where I said, honestly, if you're the Raiders, you should entertain the idea of giving Aiden O'Connell a contract extension. Why am I saying this? One, he's going to be a free agent in 2027. He is a reliable quarterback, too, and you can't tell me that he's not a reliable quarterback, too. I also think he would be a phenomenal mentor for Fernando Mendoza for Mendoza's entire career. Because if you got Mendoza and you got Aiden O'Connell, I think that that's going to help you get the best version of 1-5. On top of that, Kirk Cousins is going to be gone next season unless you win multiple playoff games. And I don't even know, like, you got to almost make it to the AFC Championship game at worst for Kirk Cousins to come back. And I know that there's been a lot of positive conversations around Aiden, especially this offseason. Kubiak's been impressed. Mike Sullivan's been impressed. Mendoza, Kirk Cousins, they've all been impressed with what AOC does on and off the field. But then on top of that, I mean, this guy's got 21 games underneath his belt. He's got 17 starts. He's been a part of horrific Raiders quarterback coaches, horrific Raiders offensive coordinators, horrific Raiders offensive minds from top to bottom. And, you know, he still has done a halfway decent job. He's making $3.7 million right now this offseason, and that's what he's going to make. But, like, if I'm Las Vegas, I'm looking long-term. And you could probably give AOC a, I don't know, 2 to 3 year extension. You could probably give him like $4 or $5 million per year, and then he knows that he's tied in with this Raiders organization. Does AOC probably want to do that? I guess no. I would imagine that Aiden O'Connell doesn't want to do that unless the money was a little bit bigger. But I do really believe that AOC is a phenomenal backup for Fernando Mendoza. I just don't want the Raiders to get into a situation next year where Aiden O'Connell's a free agent, you don't bring him back, Kirk Cousins is gone, so you only have Fernando Mendoza, and then the Raiders try to get a veteran backup to back up Mendoza, and then they end up spending $10, $15 million, kind of like on a Gardner Minshew style of QB, and have him be the backup to Mendoza. Or you just give Aiden O'Connell a contract extension now, and you save yourself a lot of money for the long haul. I don't know, call me crazy. I think that actually does make a lot of sense. And if there's one thing I'll promise you, I'm always going to give you my honest takes. Like, I don't want people to think I do this show. Like, I'm not afraid to tell you how it is. I'm not afraid to chew out a player. I'm also not afraid to say whatever the heck that I want. And I do that because that's what I would want as a fan of watching this show. Like, I know some people are probably going to say that extending Aiden O'Connell is dumb and that you disagree with it. And that's okay. I want people to disagree with my takes. This probably is a little bit of a hot take, but I'm not afraid to give a hot take. I do think AOC is a great mentor. I do think that he would help out Fernando Mendoza. But if you appreciate honest conversations, and you can have honest conversations, and conversations that people can disagree with you, and that's okay. That's the conversations that I want here on the Raiders Board. It helps us be the #1 Raiders community in the world. Hit that subscribe button, because I do think calling Aiden O'Connell the top extension candidate on offense is a little bit of a hot take, and I'm not afraid to give that hot take. Let's go to the Raiders extension candidates now on the defensive side of the football. Coming in here at number 3, I'm going to go with Jonu Laolu at defensive tackle. He's going to be a free agent in 2028. But he does have $0 guaranteed on his contract. Again, it's the type of contract that he signed last offseason. Technically, you get like that 3-year deal. It's like $1.1 million each year is kind of how it ends up working out. But he played 764 snaps last season for the Raiders, 474 before that. The Raiders' defensive tackle room is unproven. It doesn't have a lot of solid depth. Now, I am hopeful in Tonka Hemingway. I'm hopeful in J.J. Pegues. I actually heard a lot of really good stuff about Tonka, heard a lot of good stuff about J.J. Pegues during minicamp, but, there is a lot of question marks around Jonah Laulu, and I believe if you were to ask most Raider fans out there, Rob Leonard was the defensive line coach last season. Would you confidently say that he is a top 3 defensive tackle on this team? If you answer that quickly, because I'll tell you this, I do think most Raider fans would answer that question pretty quickly, that, yeah, you know what? Jonah Laulu is a top 3 defensive tackle on this team. Then with Adam Butler being his age and all the other players that are a little bit unproven, and clearly he's got some experience on the field, that could be an indication, you know what, that's a guy that we want to go give some money to. From a career stat standpoint, the PFF grades are not good. And this has kind of been a take where I've heard some people say that Jonah is the best defensive tackle on the Raiders roster. And I've heard some content creators say that. Again, I don't think that that's true at all. I would say Adam Butler is without a doubt the best defensive tackle on this team, and I wouldn't think twice about it. Now, Jonah might be a little bit overrated for some fans, and I think it's because, one, he's very well liked, he's very well received. He did put up 4 sacks last season, 8 tackles for loss, and if you only look at the box score, you're going to think that Jonah Laulu is a really, really solid player. I would say he's slightly a below-average defensive tackle, but he's young, he works really hard, and clearly this Raiders organization likes to see him out on the football field. That could be a reason why you decide to give him a contract extension. It also wouldn't cost you very much. Let's go to number 2 here, and I'm going to say Taron Johnson at the nickel cornerback position. This one you actually got to get a little bit more creative with, and I only say that because, and maybe extension isn't the right way to put it. Maybe a contract restructure could be the better way to do it. Now, obviously, the Raiders traded for Johnson this offseason. He's been looking for a new contract. The guaranteed money on his deal is $1.18 million this year and $0 million in 2027. Also, it's been reported that he's going to be a, quote, crucial piece. At least that's what Raiders safety coach Matt Robinson said. And if you're going, well, he plays nickel, why are you telling me what safety coach said? It's because of the amount of different areas that they're going to use him. They're going to use him at safety. They're going to use him in the nickel. They're going to use him in a multitude of different ways. And I almost wonder if, could you give Taron Johnson, let's just say a 1-year contract extension. You give him a 1-year contract extension, and then you can front load and give him a little bit, some of that extra guaranteed money in 2026 and in maybe 2027, or you restructure it to help him get some of that extra money on the top end. Because I know that he had some injuries last season, and I know that at OTAs, he wasn't there. Minicamp, he showed up, and OTAs, he also showed up the final 4 days of OTAs. But the plans that the Raiders have for Taron Johnson, this is like one of those moves where, do y'all remember a few years ago when the Raiders signed Casey Hayward? Casey Hayward was a cornerback. He played on the outside, and I was like, I think Hayward's going to do pretty damn well because he knows the Gus Bradley system like the back of his hand. And a lot of people thought he was old, he was washed up, but he was the perfect player in that system. I think Taron Johnson is kind of the exact same thing here for the Raiders where, is he older? Yes. Some people might say, oh, he's had some injuries, not going to be able to play. But I'll show you these stats here. And yes, he played in only 13 games, 12 games the year before. However, though, Al Holcomb, the Raiders linebacker coach, actually used Taron Johnson at times. Well, he was the Bills linebacker coach. He's now as an assistant for the Raiders. But I actually think what's kind of wild and crazy about Taron Johnson is he was forced to play linebacker a little bit last season because the team didn't have the proper depth that it needed to be able to have. So if you know that this is somebody that can play multiple different positions, this is somebody that this is really, really important on this Raiders defense. And I think the comparison between him and Casey Hayward, they're not going to play the same position, but I do think it's going to be one of those moves at the end of the year we go, yeah, Taron Johnson was one of the best players that our defense had from top to bottom. Coming up next here on the show, I got one player that I would extend, number one player that I would extend on the defensive side of the football. And in all honesty, out of all the players that I've talked about today, the guy that I'm about to mention is without a doubt to me, truthfully, the number one player that the Las Vegas Raiders should actually extend before training camp. And if it was up to me, he would get a contract extension done before training camp. I'll tell you who that player is in just a moment, but hit that subscribe button and join the Raiders' #1 community in the entire world. There's a reason why we have 226,000 subs. We have a lot of awesome fans. We have an unbelievable community, and if you don't believe me how sweet our community is, I have this also a new feature on YouTube. And essentially, when I drop a video, YouTube sends me a recommendation of, hey, these are some comments that I saw that you should heart. And basically, you could see good morning from the Noti Gang. Wyoming Raider says good morning, Noti Gang, and a Raider Nation. You see this one in here from Sean Irish. Great show, Mitch. But like to me, I don't have any control over what YouTube is telling me to like, what they're telling me to hit that heart button to. But what I do know is if YouTube recognizes it, then I want more people to recognize it. And I want people to see the community that we have. Yes, of course, I want people to watch the shows that we drop. But also take 5 minutes. Take 30 seconds of your day. Go down in the comments section and start interacting with each other. Let's keep on growing this community. What I've seen so far has been nothing short of absolutely unbelievable. Let's get into my #1 Raiders extension candidate here, presented by Prize Picks. It's Jeremy Chinn at strong safety. And I remember I saw this offseason. There was a few people saying that they didn't think Jeremy Chinn was a good fit with this Raiders defense. And I saw that, and it blew my mind because I think Chinn was asked to do a lot last season. And he was asked to do a lot because the Raiders did a shit job putting the proper linebackers in that room. They tried to replace Robert Spillane with Devin White, Jermaine Pratt, and they should have used Jermaine Pratt the way they used Devin White. But, again, this team didn't do anything that made any sense last season. But you tried to fill in the blanks with the Landon Roberts and Devin White, two guys that can't cover. So you asked Jeremy Chinn to cover a little bit more. But then also you had Isaiah Paul-Amal on the back end, and he didn't do a good job covering either. Jeremy Chinn, if you allow him to play this big nickel linebacker hybrid, strong safety playing up near the box role, you're going to go, yeah, that guy's a hell of a football player. And he is going to be a free agent in 2027. I think his mentality, everything that he brings to the table is exactly what you're looking for. And he crushed OTAs. He crushed minicamp. And the Raiders love his versatility. So the fact that he crushed OTAs, minicamp, coaches love his work ethic. They love his versatility. He's going to be a free agent next season. And the way that this team plans on using him, I think if you're the Raiders, you have to entertain the idea of giving Jeremy Chinn an extension. And the deal that you signed him to last offseason was 2 years for $16 million. If I'm the Raiders, I look at just trying to give him maybe 1-2 extra years on that contract, front-loading it a little bit more. But I'm telling you right now, at 28 years old, I want Jeremy Chinn on this team for more and more years down the road. And this guy's a tackling machine. He's a physical player. And he's just been a reliable asset on a lot of defenses that he's been a part of. He's played for some really solid defensive coordinators out there. I think if you don't think Jeremy Chinn is a good player, it's probably because you only watched the Pete Carroll Raiders last season. And if you think the Pete Carroll Raiders is a good benchmark, man, oh man, oh man, set your bar a little bit higher. So here are my top Raiders extension candidates before training camp. And to be clear, I really don't think that you're going to see an extension before training camp happens. Maybe Taron Johnson to give him some extra money, though. That could be a restructure. Jeremy Chinn, though, would be the #1 player. The 3 guys on the left are on defense. The 3 guys on the right are on offense. And if there's anybody that I missed, hey, don't be afraid to holler at me. And I know that I didn't originally plan on going live. Like I said, I was going to go live, but for those of you that don't know, I will be live Wednesday. Raiders up against the New York Jets in a Madden simulator game. I'll also be live on Thursday for Raiders up against the 49ers in a live Madden simulator game. And then shout out to Bayou Raiders. Special shout out to Brian Kulick, who did some unbelievable shit during Tuesday's live show. I'm also going to go live this Friday, Raiders Friday Happy Hour. We're going to do it a little different. We're going to do it during the USA and Australia game. So we're going to watch a little World Cup action. Give me some USAs down below if you made it this far in the video. And get ready for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, live right here on The Raiders Report. LA Crash Dog. Also, the France and Senegal game has officially just wrapped up. France ends up getting the dub 3-1 over Senegal, which means the Raiders Report today will go home with a W. We are up right now 8-4. We're up right now 8-4. And actually, there's another game that gets started at 5. If we're still live while that game's going, we'll continue our battle against the World Cup, though. I'm pretty confident we're going to end up getting a dub today. What up, Gunny? Just got back from the VA. Gotta get some shut-eye before work. Go to saveawarrior.org for veterans, first responders struggling. If you don't know, that's my guy, Father Tom. He's a part of Mount Raidermore, and he does a lot of unbelievable stuff. You guys do, too. Always showing up, showing out all the time. So, Gunny, appreciate you. I hope that you're not already asleep, though. It wouldn't shock me if you were. It wouldn't shock me if you were, my brother. Appreciate you, Gunny. Muerte sending in the good vibes. If you guys want to get your questions, your comments on the show, hashtag Raiders, or you can super chat. If you're wondering what our duck race is at, the last time that I checked, we have 20 to win, $30. So I would like to be able to get some more people in this race. Obviously, if we don't get any more, then hey, you got a better chance to win at least a little bit of money. 20 to win 30. 3-man race. That would be pretty wild.
Hey, $10 is $10.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you saw $10 laying on the ground, you'd pick it up. You'd pick it up. Can't tell me you wouldn't. What up, Rockin' Jock, Raider Muerte, Taino Raider, here in the building. Oh, Taino, I saw. Oh, man, Taino, what did you post yesterday? You posted something on social. I don't know if it was yesterday. I don't know if it was Sunday. Oh, man, I remember you posted something, Taino, and I was told myself I have to give you a shout-out on Tuesday. Was it military-related, like how much you've served, or was it, like, birthday-related? You have to remind me, Taino. I know you've just posted it on your social media. Damn it, I can't think of what it was, but I remember, yeah, it was a really good picture of you. So that's why I was like, oh, I got to give him a shout-out on Tuesday. Rebel said that he saw the post as well. Rebel, I feel bad. Taino, that I don't remember exactly what the post was, but I do remember. Surgery? Okay. Are you doing okay? I mean, you're here typing, so I'm hoping that means you're okay. If you guys want to get your questions, your comments up here on 8 years cancer-free, that's what it was. 8 years cancer-free. That's an unbelievable accomplishment, man. 8 years cancer-free. When I think about how long I've been doing this show, I think about that, and to think of you battling a lot of those demons before we started doing this show. God bless to you, man. 8 years cancer-free. Shout out to Taino Raider, one of the realest in the building. If you guys have ever seen me hold up my Raiders belt, it's from Taino. So, had the opportunity to hang out with him a few years ago. You're a legend in these streets, my guy. We got a few extra people getting in the duck race. I just saw my dude Hong. Hong, I got you. And then Drake Jungers, I got you. 20 to win, $50 here on the Raiders Report. Mitch, he told everybody what was my announcement was before you went. I don't know what the announcement was.
Not sure if that was English.
I was going to say, Shab, I don't know if I've seen the announcement, so you might have to tell me. I don't know if I've seen it. We are up right now, in case you're wondering, 8-4 over France and Senegal. That game is officially wrapped up. My goal today was, can the Raiders Report outscore France and Senegal? And on the back of Brian Kolig's 5-goal performance, I have heard of a hat trick. What is 5 goals called?
I know 4 is a golden sombrero. I don't know what 5 is.
5 goals. Let's find out. This is interesting. Scoring 5 goals in a single game by an individual player is traditionally called a glut.
A glut?
A glut.
How do you spell that?
Glut?
A glut?
Dude. Brian, you're such a glut, dude. Oh, man.
Brian just came in here and just glutted all over us.
I mean, I kind of almost like want to make a shirt like, I'm a Raiders Report glut.
And just... We've had an idea on Saints for one of their second-year guys, Danny Stutzman.
Yeah.
We like to say that we're dirty little stuts over on Saints now.
Dirty little stuts?
We need it on a shirt.
Dirty little gluts. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's why. Has anybody ever heard that before? Glut? I don't know if I've ever heard that before. But we've had a few goals today. We had Brian's 5 glut performance. Bayou Raider got himself a goal, and then Sherlock and Isaac Hernandez have teamed up for some pretty electric goals of their own. Though, I think Isaac technically has 2 assists. Sherlock technically has the 2 goals. But who's counting? Who's counting? All right, y'all. I got 150 people here in the building. Shout out to all y'all that always pull up every single Tuesday here on the Raiders Report. I don't see any questions. Shav says, Mitch in the chat next week. I'll be going to New York City on Wednesday or Thursday, so I will not be coming back until the following Monday. I'll be staying there for the next 7 days. Dude, have fun. Be safe. Have fun. Be safe. Bring a lot of money. Hong, bro. That's
that
crazy.
One's good. That one's good.
Hong, bro. I'll tell you this. You and Hong would get along.
That one's good.
Hong, there's not many people that I think can hang with me here at Chat Sports. Lopez, I've obviously said, is one of them. I'll tell you this right now. Top 5 maybe most banged up people I've ever seen in person. Bro, Hong was banged up when we did a meetup in San Jose. He literally, it would have been like he was talking and there was just question marks up on screen. But that guy partied harder than any other person, I think, at that party, man. I'm telling you this right now. If Hong's at the party, shit's gonna go down. And in all the right ways. Luda Sigla, what up, man? When we extend Mad Max, would you give him a no-trade clause? If Max wants a no-trade clause, I think you got to entertain the idea. But then also in the exact same breath, you can't do things just for Max Crosby. Like, if John Spytek and Clint Kubiak go, you know what? I at least would like the option to trade Max Crosby, and you don't give him a no-trade clause. If you're going, well, I want to just stop these trade rumors and I don't want to ever hear them ever again, then, like, if I'm the Raiders and I go, okay, Max, if you want a no-trade clause, you got to play out the rest of your contract. We gave you all this money, and we've done it twice. We've made you our top priority. The Raiders made Max Crosby a priority above a quarterback twice. It doesn't happen a lot, and based on how the Raiders have played over the past few years, you know, you can make the argument maybe it wasn't the right decision to make, and everybody here loves Max Crosby. But if I'm the Raiders, I look at Mad Max and I go, you remember when we made you the highest paid defensive player in the National Football League? I hope that you remember that. I want you to play out that contract. And if you end up playing out that contract, then we can be in agreement right now of, hey, you're going to play out the contract with the Raiders. I don't want to hear any more extension talks, because if you get the Condor at right around that $30 million figure this year, next year, the year after that, and the year after that, it's truly one of the best contracts in the National Football League. The thing that's going to happen, though, is because he's got $0 million guaranteed in 2028 and in 2029, Max is going to look for more money in 2028 and 2029. His next 2 years are guaranteed, 2026, 2027. It's already fully guaranteed. That's $60 million. It's technically like just under 60. It's like 59 something, but it's in his pocket. I think it's actually $59.9 million in his pocket. So if he wants a no trade clause, I think he's also got to be willing to play at the money that he signed that contract for previous, because if you give him a no trade clause and then you give him $40 million per year at above the age of 30, that I don't think really helps out the Raiders either. I think what would make it attractive is the fact of that he's at that current contract that he is right now. Maybe that's a hot take. You could say what you want, but I think the Raiders got to put the Raiders first here. Nobody's above the shield, so I'll leave it like that. But he's got to play well. He's got to be able to play well. He's got to be able to prove that he can stay healthy, because I think that's the real big factor here. Max is some people kind of got mad at me saying this before, but a lot of people were blaming Alex Guerrero earlier this offseason for certain things that truly didn't deserve to be put on Alex Guerrero. All Guerrero has been trying to do is be like, hey, Max, your pitch count every single year is super high. By doing X, Y, Z and shutting you down, we're hoping to be able to extend your entire career. And actually, when Max took the podium last week, he kind of talked about like some of that pitch count talk. And I think it's starting to click a little bit more in his mind that it's like, hey, if I want to be one of the greatest of all time, I need to be able to have some more longevity in my career. I can't just be going balls to the wall, because then my career is probably going to get cut short. So, all right, y'all. Hashtag Raiders, super chat, skip the line if you're looking to get it going. I don't see any other questions here, so what's going to end up happening is I want to get into this other segment, which is going to be around, again, Nakobe Dean replacements, but I also am doing this like worst case scenario type shit. Like, worst case scenario is how I'm thinking about it. I did just see, I got a few extra people that just got in the duck race. DeAndre Mallory, you're in, and then Rustin Long, you are also in the duck race. I don't know. All I read down there is, personally, I start with my thumb. What does that mean? What are we talking about?
What do you think they're talking about is the question.
What's crazy is I don't know. If you read down below and all you saw was, I start with my thumb.
See, I usually start with my pinky, so I'd be like, oh, that's weird.
I'm not going to look in the chat. I'm going to try to figure this out. So he said I start with my thumb. What is something you start with your thumb? And you said you start with your pinky. I feel like it's like grabbing. It's got to be something like that you grab. A bat? A beer? How you grab a beer? Maybe somebody.
No, you grab the beer with your palm.
Yeah, I know. No idea. No idea. No idea. All right, y'all. Before I get canceled, coming up on the show, hit that thumbs up icon if you use your thumb to start. No.
I hit the pinkies up.
All right, pinkies up. Pinky or thumb. Pinky or thumb. Pinky or thumb. You guys ready to talk about some Nakobe Dean replacements? I hope the answer to that is yes, because that's what we're going to talk about, because I don't know what these thumb conversations are. I don't know what these thumb conversations are.
Oh, you know. You know.
Bayou says how you text. If you text with your pinkies, you're a serial killer. Dude, if you saw someone texting.
No, I would do the little text to drag to text thing.
It would literally be like this. That's not possible, bro. Not possible. All right, y'all. You guys ready to get this thing rocking? You ready to get it rocking? I hope so. Ready?
Yeah.
Y'all ready? Coming up, we're going to talk about Nakobe Dean replacements. After that, it's going to be your final call to get in the duck race, and it's also going to be the final call for you to get some questions going here. Hashtag Raiders or Super Chat to skip the line. Coming up, let's talk about Nakobe Dean and some potential replacements. Coming up today here on the Raiders Report, I'm thinking worst case scenario. And when I say worst case scenario, I'm talking about potential Nakobe Dean replacements that the Raiders could sign before training camp. Shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. And if you don't know, our show is presented by Prize Picks. So let's face the facts here. One of the biggest topics this offseason for the Las Vegas Raiders has been newly signed linebacker Nakobe Dean. This offseason, the Silver and Black gave Dean a 3-year, $36 million contract, and a lot of us anticipated that we would see him maybe during OTAs and maybe during minicamp. However, though, he missed the majority of, basically, I think all of OTAs and all of minicamp due to an injury. Do we know what that injury is? No, we do not. Do I think it's a minor injury? Yes, I do. The Raiders coaching staff doesn't really seem to be all that worried about it. But here's the thing. He's had trouble staying healthy in 4 years, and in his 4-year career, only regular season, 47 games played, 27 games started, 21 games missed. So that means 31% of the possible games he's been out due to injury. So even though the Raiders don't seem to be all that worried about it and they expect him to be ready to go during training camp, like there's going to be people that watch this video, they're going to go, Mitch, why are we talking about Nakobe Dean replacements if the Raiders expect him to be there? I hear you loud and clear, but I also got to remind you that this is the middle of June, and if Nakobe Dean is not exactly where we think he's going to be, you do have to at least start to plan for the worst case scenario. However, though, this is what the Raiders have continuously said about Nakobe Dean, and I want you to know that I'm not worried about Dean because the Raiders don't seem to be worried about Nakobe Dean. So let's go to Clint Kubiak here real quick. He had this to say on May 20th, and I also just want to show you the difference between what Kubiak said on the 20th compared to what he said on June 11th. It's a voluntary time of year. Can't wait to get those guys back. Really fired up for the guys that are here, but been in contact with both of those guys, and they've been doing a great job. Some here and some away. That was Raiders head coach on May 20th. Here's what the Raiders head coach Kubiak had to say on June 11th. Nakobe's been here every day in practice, but all injuries and things like that, I don't want to talk about at this time of year. We just want to get all of our guys healthy for training camp. That's really the most important thing. Do I think Clint Kubiak said flat out that Nakobe Dean's battling an injury in that statement? No. I think he beat around the bush, but I also think he did it in a very, very smart way. If you don't have to talk about injuries, why would you end up doing it? I am team no drama during this time of the year, and I think if you bring up injuries, you kind of get into a little bit of that drama conversation. But I'm going to ask you all 3 questions. If you say yes to any of these questions, I hope that you hit that like button. The first one, Nakobe Dean seems to be battling a minor injury that isn't concerning right now. Do you agree with that statement? If the answer to that is yes, hit that like button. What about the Raiders probably won't sign a replacement? Like if Nakobe Dean goes down, I actually don't think that we're going to look at free agency. I think the Raiders are already going to look at that Raiders linebacker room that they have right now, and they're going to go, you know what? I think we already have a potential replacement on this squad because you got Cody Lindenberg. You got a Tommy Eichenberg. Hell, I might even make the argument that the Raiders have already signed their, quote, Nakobe Dean replacement and a Cameron McGrone who gives you a little bit of that versatility on the back end here. But with all due respect, I think that these are the top 5 players that the Raiders would try to use to help replace Nakobe Dean, because you're not just going to put Cody Lindenberg at weak side linebacker and replace Nakobe Dean. It ain't going to happen, right? And they're going to have to do a lot of different things on that defensive side of the football. But I think that Cody Lindenberg, Tommy Eichenberg will be the top 2 guys. Shea Gunalobi, who the Raiders signed this offseason, probably will be asked to do the same. He's a faster player. Cameron McGrone, I would say, is asked to help replace him right now during the offseason. I don't see McGrone end up making the squad. But then also, if I'm the Raiders, I would use Jeremy Chinn. What if you use Jeremy Chinn as a weak side linebacker next to Quay Walker? Sure, you're taking away a safety, but you also have Traden Stukes. You got Taron Johnson. You have other players that I think that this team would feel pretty confident. You could even use Isaiah Paul-Lamau as a strong safety rule to help Jeremy Chinn make that replacement up there at weak side linebacker if you really needed to. But like to me, the final reason is I always believe it's better to be safe than to be sorry, which is why I wanted to be able to make this show, because if Nakobe Dean, worst case scenario, isn't going to be available in training camp, I think the Raiders then got to start looking at some potential free agent options. So coming up here on the Raiders Report, I'm going to give you my top 5 players that the Raiders should sign if they literally just want to go, who can I replace Nakobe Dean with? One player for one player, not on the Las Vegas Raiders. Those top 5 players are coming up here in just a moment. But shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. Whether you're watching the World Cup, heck, I was watching some MMA over the weekend. There were some pretty crazy fights at the White House, I'm not going to lie. And even though I lost my Prize Picks lineup for MMA, I still had a lot of fun watching the entire experience. I know Max Crosby was watching as well. But whether you guys want to pick winners, and when I say winners, like for the World Cup, if you wanted to go more or less on Lionel Messi, Mbappe, you can do that. You can also actually just pick teams like straight up to win. Like I did the other day, I did a lineup which was featuring Mexico. My wife's from Mexico, so I ended up picking Mexico to win by more than 1.5 goals, and they did end up doing that. But because Team Picks is available on Prize Picks, I personally really recommend you guys go checking it out, especially during this time of the year. Also, you know, they got college baseball on that thing. I even saw the other day that Serena and Venus, they're coming back as doing doubles partners. And again, if I have the chance to watch the greatest of all time do it on their sport, I'm going to find a way to watch it and have a good time while I watch it. Even the other day, I did a lineup with Asia Wilson in it, and she went off for like 30 freaking points. I mean, she's a baller, man. I just, this is a weird time of the year for me because once hockey and basketball's over and then there's like that little bit of a stretch until football gets going again, it's like, how can I occupy my time when I get home? I'm a sports fan and I watch sports. So if I know I get an hour, 2, 3 hours, I usually like to get a Prize Picks lineup in. If anybody wants to follow any of my lineups out there, you can give me a follow. I'm at MitchellRens365. If you don't know how to spell it, it's the same as my Instagram, Twitter, Venmo. I'm at MitchellRens365 everywhere. But America's #1 sports pick app, I can get you $50 instantly in lineups. After you play your first $5 lineup, just use code HMA because on Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So the way that I'm going to roll here with these Nakobe Dean replacements is I'm going to go from 5, and I'm going to work my way all the way down to 1. 1 being the #1 player that if you're trying to replace Nakobe, player for player, that's the guy I'm the Raiders. I would go out and I'd try to get. Let's go down memory lane here a little bit. Jermaine Pratt. So I kind of laugh and I chuckle because the way the Raiders used Jermaine Pratt last offseason is idiotic. They used Jermaine Pratt in the Devin White role. Like, if they would have had Devin White play Jermaine Pratt's role and Jermaine Pratt played Devin White's role, this linebacker room would have looked a lot different, and Pratt would have still been on the team. But here's the thing. Pratt was released by the Raiders last season on October 6th after the Raiders signed him during the offseason. The reason why he was released, and if you remember, it was right before the Indianapolis Colts game, and I actually reported here on the Raiders Report that I heard that Jermaine Pratt was kind of talking, certain things about this coaching staff, and that was one of the reasons why he wasn't invited to go to the Colts game. I was also told that, and I said it on this show, that Jermaine Pratt, I was told, was going to be a member of the Indianapolis Colts the day before he ended up signing with the Indianapolis Colts. But, he actually had the balls to call out that coaching staff last year, being like, what you guys are doing is idiotic. And he was right. They were doing a lot of idiotic shit, but Pete was playing favorites with his guys, Devin White, over Jermaine Pratt. And Pratt, he did play safety in college football. So I'm wondering, if we're going to use Jeremy Chin up in that role, can you potentially, be a little bit more versatile with Jermaine Pratt? But predominantly when he was with the Cincinnati Bengals, he played a lot of weak side linebacker. And look at those numbers last season, 2025 with Indianapolis, and yes, a little bit with the Raiders. He had 126 tackles, but that's 3 straight years where he played in every single game. The only game he didn't play in is the game that the Raiders held him out in. So he's been healthy, he's been consistent, and 913 snaps last year, he was a 62.6 overall PFF grade, and I really look at more of what he's able to do in the coverage game because that's kind of how I think coverage, pass rush is a little bit more important for Nakobe in this Raiders defense. But Jermaine Pratt is going to be a name I'll throw out there, though I don't really think that the John Spytek Raiders would bring him back. But I'd make the argument that you should, because if you got the stones to call out that team last year, I don't know. That's a guy that clearly, to me, gives a shit. Let's go to number 4 here. It's going to be Jerome Baker. And I really struggled when I did this show of where to put Jerome Baker because there's a part of me that goes, out of all these names that I'm going to talk about, number 4 and number 2 are probably the most likely candidates that I'm going to mention. But I don't know if you can just replace Nakobe Dean with Jerome Baker. Now, the reason why I'm saying what I am about Baker is Baker was the Miami Dolphins team captain in 2019. That year in 2019, our defensive coordinator now, Rob Leonard, was the linebackers coach for the Miami Dolphins. On top of that, in 2020, when Baker was also a captain in Miami, Rob Leonard was the assistant defensive line coach. That's multiple years with Rob Leonard. And also, again, Baker had, I believe, 3 years in total with Leonard. But he's played in 3-4 fronts. He's played in 4-3 defenses. Played in 17 games last season. He's got 121 games played under his belt. And has been, for the most part, a healthy player. Now, when you look at 2024, 2023, you're going to notice that he did miss some games in there. And I'm not asking for the 100 tackling machine of Jerome Baker. Really, if you go out and you sign Baker, what you're really asking him to do is be a veteran presence because let's say you have 100% of the snaps. I would imagine that the Raiders end up splitting a lot of those snaps with Jerome Baker, Cody Lindenberg, and Tommy Eichenberg. You go out and you sign Baker because you're like, well, I don't know if I'm 100% confident on some of these younger linebackers, and if I add a really hard-working potential team captain on previous teams, he wouldn't be a team captain for the Raiders. That's kind of what you're looking to do here, and look at the numbers from last year. Yes, it's limited sample size, only 261 snaps, but, he was able to show that he can get after the quarterback, and that's low-key something that Nakobe does really well and that he doesn't really get a lot of credit for. But I look at Jerome Baker as being a very interesting option because of his ties with Rob Leonard, because of his captain status, because you know that he's not going to be very expensive. I think all those are things that the Raiders are going to be potentially looking for, especially if we're talking this worst-case scenario. Now, I know that each and every one of y'all are always pulling up here, and it's a major shout-out. But if you're looking for free videos every day, I hope you hit that subscribe button. And if you're looking for commitment to excellence, we've put out a video every single day on this channel for the last 8 years. And I know we put out a lot of content, and sometimes a lot of the content that we put out, it ends up getting missed. So one of the videos that I actually did over the weekend was this video right here. Watch out. The Raiders may have found a unicorn. And based on all of our numbers here on YouTube, this was the #1 most watched video on the Raiders Report this week. If you haven't seen this video, go check it out. Go find out who that unicorn is. You're going to see some really cool numbers. You're going to see some really cool comparisons in there. But I'm going to try to start doing this a little bit more because I know during the weekend, off-season, people are busy. But I want you to check out all the top videos that I do because apparently this one was a big fan hit. And I don't know. It's probably the first time I've ever put a unicorn on a thumbnail. Let's go to number 3 here. A guy who probably could be considered a unicorn. It's Bobby Wagner. And depending on who you talk to about Wagner, I do think it's important because I talked to our Commanders host here at Chat Sports, and he told me that he actually thought Wagner was one of the more overrated linebackers this past season. More to do with like the fact that he was a disaster in coverage. Now, he could still stop the run. He could still get in the middle. And personally, I do think Wagner is probably more of a middle linebacker. When I say probably, he's without a doubt more of a middle linebacker than a weak side linebacker. However, though, can I put Bobby Wagner and Quay Walker both in the middle of my defense? And can I put Wagner out there who I know is going to be consistent? A player that hasn't missed a game since 2018, y'all. Hasn't missed a game since 2018, week 2. And again, we're talking consistency. Wagner has 2,000 career tackles, which means he averages 155 tackles per season. That's disgustingly unbelievable. And, you know, I just think about the mentality, the player that you're able to bring to this defense. And, you know, he's got some work in some past Dan Quinn defenses. He's worked with Jeremy Chin before in the past, but it's that tenacity, it's that mindset, it's the, you know exactly what you're getting. And in my mind, the reason why I rank Bobby Wagner at number 3 here, because some people will probably go, well, why didn't you put him at number 1, Mitch? I didn't put him at number 1 because I still think it's going to be a little expensive, and he's not a weak side linebacker. He's more of a middle linebacker. But then also at the same breath, the reason why that I put him at 3 is if this is worst case scenario and you're out on the Nakobe Dean and you don't have him anymore, I'm looking for reliability. I don't know if there's a more reliable linebacker in the NFL right now than Bobby Wagner. Like, just in terms of, I know he's going to play all 17 games. I know he's going to be able to go out there and stop the run. I know he's going to be a solid player on and off the field. And in 1,132 snaps, I mean, he's still playing at a very high level. Again, if you look at these numbers, you're going to think that he was probably an all-pro or at least a pro bowler, which he wasn't. I talked to our Commanders host, and he made it clear to me that Bobby is a liability in coverage. And I know that we fall in love with tackles, but it's the same thing like we dealt with last year. Just because Devin White set the Raiders single-season record for most tackles in a season doesn't mean that you're a good player. When it comes to Bobby Wagner, though, he is still a very good run defender in the NFL. Let's go to number 2 here on my potential Nakobe Dean replacements, worst-case scenario. Reminder, I said that I thought Jerome Baker, and I said number 2. It's Matt Milano. If the Raiders were actually looking for a Nakobe Dean replacement, I think Milano would be the other name to really keep in mind, and it's due to the coaching connection. Now, some people are going to go, so you're telling me we're going to replace an injury-prone Nakobe Dean with an even more injury-prone linebacker. Yep, that's exactly what I'm telling you, but I'm saying it because of the connection. And he's got an outstanding relationship with Raiders senior defensive assistant Al Holcomb. For those of you that do not know, Al Holcomb was the Buffalo Bills linebacker coach the past 2 years. And Milano and Holcomb, based on people that I talked to, and I got one of my really good buddies, he's from my hometown. He's one of the coaches in Buffalo, so him and we talk from time to time. Again, nothing crazy, but Milano has struggled staying healthy. 39 games missed over the past 3 seasons. But if you lose Nakobe, I think then what you got to consider is, okay, who's somebody that I know exactly what I'm going to get and somebody that I can bring into this room and kind of really be teachable and coachable. I think it's Matt Milano, and I do think Al Holcomb would really truly pull for him. Over the past 4 seasons, he's played 12 games last season, 4 games the year before that, 5 games in 2023. When he's been healthy, he's been outstanding. I shouldn't say outstanding. He's been good. In 2022, he was one of the better linebackers in the National Football League. At 6 foot, 223 pounds, he can still go sideline to sideline. He can be versatile, and I know that these PFF numbers are not going to inspire a lot of confidence in you, but I do think that he can still provide some of that pass rush flexibility, and then you put him out there. He's going to be able to help Tommy Eichenberg. He's going to be able to help out Cody Lindenberg in their young player development, and no matter what, he will have respect in that locker room. But you know what? He's not number 1 on my list, and coming up here in just a moment, I'm going to tell you the number 1 Nakobe Dean replacement that the Raiders should look at if it's worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, Nakobe's not ready for training camp, and the Raiders are concerned that he's not going to be healthy to start the upcoming season. I don't think we're anywhere close to that, but it's the middle of June. Let's talk about it. I do at least want to mention a few other honorable mentions that you could throw out there, and with all honesty, the Raiders would probably look to add a lower-level guy to be cheap, to just add to the roster, kind of like a Cameron McGrone. If that's what happens, the names that I'll look at are Troy Anderson, linebacker from Montana State, who I actually still think has technically tested out as the greatest linebacker in NFL Combine history. He's in the 99.9 percentile. So maybe you look at somebody like that for a little special teams work. J.J. Russell has got 3 years with Spy Tech, so that's going to be somebody to keep in mind on top of that. Gives you some special teams flexibility. And then Brian Asamoah, Oklahoma linebacker, and Kenneth Murray's got some AFC West experience. But those are some 2 other guys that, again, we're just looking for just in case honorable mentions. But I don't know if any of these guys are over Cody Lindenberg, if I'm being 100% honest with you. You know who's definitely been working up this chart? Shout out to Ron Raspberry. He's been climbing the community spotlight. And again, I believe this is the most comments all time on Raiders Report videos. And as you can see, Ron Raspberry is number 1. And again, a lot of other people. We got Eddie. Shout out to Early Riser. It looks like, I believe that's Andre Green. Maybe you're related to Anthony Green. Mega Cooler, Roger Chandler's, RJ Van. I look at all these comments and I see it. But you know what? I always tell all y'all, I hope they interact with each other down in the comments. And I don't think people realize also what other people see. So, Ron, you're one of our moderators here, and you're always here. Man, you comment on videos more than anybody else, and I want you to know that people see it. So I saw this comment from Mac, and all it says was, Ron Raspberry, I don't know where you are, but I wish you a great day, brethren. That is the definition of what Raider Nation is all about. So, Ron, I'm going to tip my cap to you because a lot of people are seeing what you're doing down in the comments below on videos. You're helping grow in this community, and Max recognizes it. I recognize it, and if you want to give a shout out to Ron Raspberry, give me a Ron Raz down below because I agree with him. Whatever you're doing right now, man, I hope you're having yourself a good day. Let's go to number 1. The number 1 linebacker that I think that the Raiders could sign to help replace Nakobe Dean if, worst case scenario, I can never pronounce this name right, so bear with me here a little bit. Bobby Okereke. I've also heard Bobby Okereke, but I believe it's Bobby Okereke. And my favorite memory of him was that interception he had last season on Geno Smith and basically the Tank Bowl. But the reason why I'm going to put him at number 1 is he's missed only 5 games the past 5 years, and all of those happened in the year of 2024. Also, Raiders linebacker coach Ronald Williams, he was with Philadelphia. He saw him, I actually believe the number is 5 total games over the past 3 seasons. One of the games that he missed in 2024 was actually, unfortunately, the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's had a lot of experience just being like, okay, hey, this is what we've gone up against, the New York Giants. This is kind of what we've seen before. But because he's played weak side, strong side, middle linebacker, he was a Giants team captain the past 3 seasons. I think all of those reasons, you add them up. You put him next to a Quay Walker. He's still a little bit, he's like 29 years old, I believe. He would be the player if, again, worst case scenario, I got to replace Nakobe Dean with. Bobby's probably the name that I would go out there and I'd probably go out and get. And he had 143 tackles last season. One of those interceptions against Geno Smith. He can help you out in pass protection. He can help you get after the quarterback. He's a consistent linebacker that's also, which I will say this, one of my really good Raiders sources, he's pretty well tied into Stanford. And I know the Raiders organization, Mark Davis specifically, has always had an affection for players from Stanford because, again, they're usually very, very smart up here. You don't get into Stanford unless you're an extremely intelligent, and a lot of times people think that Stanford players are coachable, and over 1,000 snaps were played by him last season, and most importantly, he's good against getting after the quarterback, and he's good in coverage. Those are two metrics that I look at because I know that Quay Walker is going to be able to hold it down against the run. So if you can find somebody that can go sideline to sideline that's got some leadership qualities, Bobby Okereke is going to be the number one linebacker that I would consider signing in free agency if we really truly needed to find a Nakobe Dean replacement. So one more time here. I got Jermaine Pratt, Jerome Baker, Bobby Wagner, Matt Milano, Bobby Okereke. However, I don't really think that the Raiders would sign any of these players if Nakobe Dean goes down. I think they would rely on the players that they have, like a Cody Lindenberg, like a Tommy Eichenberg, like a Shea Gunalobi, like a Cameron McGrone during the offseason. But then also, if I'm the Raiders, if I'm really trying to replace Nakobe Dean, I don't mind the idea of moving Jeremy Chin into a weak side linebacker, strong safety, nickel hybrid type of big linebacker role, using Isaiah Paul-Mao as a strong safety, using Taron Johnson, using Traden Stukes to help out fill out some of these holes a little bit in that secondary if Chin has to come up and play that linebacker role, which kind of is an interesting thing because I said personally last year, being able to replace Roberts playing with Jeremy Chin would have been the way that I would have thought about doing it. All right, y'all. I know that Nakobe Dean is a popular conversation, which is why I wanted to do this video. I'm not saying that there is a big issue going on with Nakobe. I'm just simply saying if there was a worst-case scenario, those would be the players that John Spytek and Clint Kubiak should potentially look at in signing to help replace Nakobe. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. All right, y'all. Shout out to all y'all for being here in the building, and I want to continue to be able to spread the love, and if you haven't already, I hope that you give somebody a shout-out that deserves it today. Personally, I want to give a special shout-out to Brian Cully. Can you show that super chat again? There's only been a handful of times in my memory that I've seen somebody do what Brian Cully did today, and he dropped a $500 super chat. We're going to hook him up with a signed Fernando Mendoza jersey. So, Brian, I still don't know if you have sent me your size and if you've sent me your shipping address. If you have my information on Instagram, try to get in contact with me. I want to be able to send you that tomorrow. Typically, Wednesday is the day that I do a lot of that shipping and what have you. But, like I said, Brian, when you do legendary shit, man, I hope more and more people recognize it. But also, Bayou Raider deserves it. Isaac Hernandez got the party started like he always has been. Sherlock Raider has been an absolute legend over the past month on this show. And actually, he's going to be in the building next Friday, which is kind of a wild, wild thing to be able to think about. I'm really excited to be able to party up here, a little Raiders Friday happy hour with an actual host in the building. But, Brian, MVP today, my guy. You're going to get yourself a golden ticket to help get in our fantasy football league. But I don't have anything else to be able to discuss here on the show. Sherlock just sent in a $5 super chat, so we'll get you one of those fantasy raffle tickets there, my good
Brian
guy.
Put his address in the chat.
All right. Yep. Yes, he did. Brian, you did not have to do that.
I can't stop you from doing that.
I know. Well, Rebel, shout out to you for getting rid of it. I got it written down, though, Brian, so we're good. Brian, did you give me a size? Okay.
Yeah, he said XL.
Perfect. Brian, I will submit that order tomorrow, and I'm hoping that you should get your Fernando Mendoza jersey by Friday, but you should get it by Monday. So I'll be making sure to send that bad boy.
Now, Brian, since we have your address and your size, we also need the last 4 digits of social, if you don't mind.
Yep.
Also, just put that in the chat. We'll write it down. We'll take it out real quick after.
Hey, Brian, what's your mom's maiden name?
Yeah. What street did you grow up on as a child?
If you had to guess what your first pet's name was, what would you go with? Trying to think of like some other random ones. What was your favorite food as a kid? I had that one.
I'm trying to think some other ones that they had.
I mean, there's always.
Like, what elementary school did you go to? There was that one.
Did you already say what street you grew up on?
Yeah.
I feel like those are the common ones. Those are the common ones. Yep, Drake just said street you lived on. Drake, I know you, sir, are in the duck race. Brian, I hope that you're kidding. Brian, we don't need any other. Bro is actually giving us.
God, I really hope that's real, but at the same time, I really hope for Brian's sake that it's not.
Oh my God, that's hilarious, Brian.
What I would do for that to be real.
There's only one way to find out. Brian, do you have Venmo? I don't know if the answer to that is yes. Brian, if you do, I'd love to be able to get you in this duck race here. Michael Johnson, I got you in. Anthony Green, I got you in. And then Richard Black, I got you in. $20 Venmo right now for a shot to win $100 here on the Raiders Report. $100 going to the winner. What up, Sherlock? I got you in, my guy. All right, y'all. I don't see any other questions. What are all this?
Brian does not do Venmo.
All right, Brian. It's all good, man.
He only drops his. Why don't you drop your credit card number in here? We'll
Do
charge
not.
you $20.
Do not.
We'll take $20 out of your account. We'll consider that your Venmo entry.
Oh, boy. Very, very, very good. Sorry, y'all. My back is. I don't know what's been going on. It's been wild. Hong, I'm glad you're laughing about it, Hong, because sometimes y'all blow my mind, and I'm mind blown with some of the shit y'all do. But you guys keep me young. I'll tell you that right now. It's so funny. Like when I go home back home, there's often times where people are like, "Hey, like what are you doing for work now?" So like you have that whole conversation, and it's always cool because people will ask me like, "Oh, like you get to know like your YouTube watchers," and I think it's one of the things that people don't realize when you do what I do, and I think you guys feel the same way, how close you can feel to somebody, even if you've like never met them. And truthfully, man, you guys make this show a lot of fun. You really do. You do. There's a reason why I'm freaking live Tuesday, June 16th, and nothing happened Raiders related today. You guys deserve it. You guys, it's what I want to do. Appreciate you. All right, I gave you enough time to get in the duck race. Final chance for you to get in. Winner right now goes home with $100 on the show. $20 Venmo, Mitchell Renz 365. The names that I got in are Richard Black, Anthony Green, Michael Johnson, Rustin Long, DeAndre Mallory, Drake Jungers, Hong, Bayou, Angela Sherlock, Richard Engel. If you did not hear your name, yell at me. But I'm looking at the list right now, and I know that we are all caught up.
Just 10 names?
Just 10 names. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Just 10 names. We're ready to go. And then again, for a friendly reminder, I will be live tomorrow. Little Raiders Jets action. And then I will be live on Thursday for Raiders up against the 49ers Madden action. And then Friday happy hour, we're gonna do it a little bit different. Who knows? Maybe I'll go live all day on Friday. I don't even know. We'll see what happens. But I will definitely be live on Friday as well for Friday happy hour. And Friday happy hour is going to be during the USA game.
Dude, I'm going to tell you this.
We're going to celebrate the shit out of that USA. I'm actually like really looking forward to it.
If we're going live all day Friday, I have one request.
Uh-huh.
We don't drink Happy Dads until 2, and then before then we do espresso martinis. We get brunch drinks for the morning. Because I can't drink on a Happy Dad all day.
Bro, espresso. You know what's crazy? deal.
Fuck yeah.
So I'll just say this. Suave, I used to live in... Bro. I actually thought you were serious for a second. I'm like, I don't...
Got your ass.
I was like, I don't remember ever sending anything to that address. So Alex's one friend that lives down here, they own a espresso martini in a can business.
Okay.
And they're like very popular like down here. But they come in French vanilla, regular, and caramel. We actually have a ton at home.
Dude.
They're 8%, bro.
We're going to start ripping espresso martinis. Hell yeah.
If you're down, I'm telling you this right now, like if you drank a 6-pack of them, you're going to be feeling good. Like,
I don't know what would be worse, 6 of 8% whatever, or 6 espressos. Because, like...
True. No, I mean, what we did last week or 2 weeks ago, that oyster or whatever the heck that was, oh my God. I don't know if I've ever been more banged up on a show. That was, dude, I was...
Those are heavy, though.
Bro, I was unconscious.
Those were heavy.
They were so heavy. All right, it sounds like we're going to have some fun this week. That's all I know. All right, y'all, let's get in. Actually, can you add, can you give me a J Fields?
Fields?
Yep, J Fields. J Fields, I got you in 20 to win. $110. Now here on the Raiders board, we got a hedgehog race.
I like to spice it up.
A little spicy. All right, let's do it. Let's rock. Let's rock today. Let's rock. Let's rock today. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Bayou, I think, has a lead right now. I didn't realize they start rolling. Dude, out of all these hedgehogs here, I think Hong's looks like the most Raiders hedgehog. Hong, honestly, your hedgehog looks like my Hoka shoes. Though Bayou right now does have a little bit of a lead. DeAndre Mallory, Drake Jungers, watching him down below. Jake Fields up there at the top. Richard Black, the last name's not making sense. Angela Sherlock, 30 seconds to go. Winner's going to go home with $110. $110. DeAndre Mallory right now is smoking. I mean, dude, come on, Drake. Come on, Drake, though. Fields got in late. Richard Black. Come on, Hong. Come on, Hong. I don't think Hong's gotten a win yet. Who's this? Bayou? Yeah, boy. And the LSU? No! It's Engel! Damn. Richard Engel camouflaged himself all the way to get the dub. Richard Engel actually was the first person in the race today. Sometimes if you ain't first, you're last. Speaking of last, who gets the pick? Engel, if you could please confirm that you just received $110, that would be much, much appreciated. And then to Jaime Keys, and then to Jaime Keys and to Michael Johnson. I just got yours just now, so to Jaime and to Michael, I'm going to put you guys in tomorrow's duck race. We're going to do a $20 Venmo duck race tomorrow. So to Michael Johnson and Jaime Keys, I am already putting you in for tomorrow. Just so you know. Just so you know. Hong, I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought you honestly might have a shot there. I hope that you had a shot to get a dub there. All right, guys. I saw Raider Rick says, I got it, Mitch. Thanks. Perfect. Rick ended up getting it. So, again, y'all, we're going to hop on out of here. If you don't know, I do plan on going live tomorrow. Raiders, Jets, Madden simulation, and then I will be going live again on Thursday. Raiders, 49ers, Madden simulation. And then I will tell you this. I'll give you guys a deal on Thursday, and that deal's going to be around us being live the entire day on Friday. So
and only drinking espresso martinis until like 2, 3 o'clock. Then we might switch over.
We could do like certain hours. There's like different drinks. No, dude, we're going to be in trouble come USA, Australia.
I'm about to say, what is the definition of live all day?
The definition of live all day would probably be like, I would say live all day is 10 a.m. our time
Okay.
until the end of the USA-Australia game. Because I'll tell you this right now, I don't know if we'd be able to go any longer than that.
I'm about to say, that'd be like 10 to 4. So what's that, 6 hours? Yeah.
It's about 6 hours, and then maybe we're live.
Maybe a little bit after the USA game.
A little bit after the game.
Because, yeah, I imagine the game will go 2 to 4, 90 minutes plus halftime, yeah.
Maybe we go live at like noon. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. If you guys are down to party all day on Friday, though, you let me know. From me, shout out to Brian Kullig being the MVP on today's show, and to everybody that's always here, to all the moderators. I see Big Raz. Big Raz, you got a lot of kudos on the show today. Rebel Montana, shout out to you. Bayou Raider, shout out to you for being here in the building. From me, from my guy Lopez, from the entire Chat Sports crew, I will see you guys tomorrow here on the Raiders Report. I don't know if I'm going to be going live at 4 Eastern or 3 Eastern, but we will be live tomorrow for Raiders up against the Jets. Salute to Brian Kullig. Brian, I promise you, man, when you do crazy shit like that, I obviously remember it, but then you're the first big bang I ever got, and you always remember your first big bang.